Namaste. A friend of mine, she's an astrologer, and she suggested that today was a good day for me to put out a YouTube video. I'm a little bit busy because we're going to go run a yoga teacher training up north in the Upper Peninsula tomorrow, but we're still working towards getting multiple things done at once. So I felt the urgency and I wanted to get something done. Didn't want to miss this opportunity to share with people based upon astrological suggestions. So I just opened the Yoga Sutras and this is the verse that we've come to today. So, avidya smita raga dvesha biniveshaha kleshaha. So, ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, and madly clinging to the body and life are the 5 obstacles. So these are the kleshas. Many of you yoga philosophy people may have heard of the kleshas before. They're a popular topic in some of the yoga schools that pay attention to yoga philosophy. The first of the 5 kleshas is ignorance. So the ignorance that it's discussing is the ignorance of our immortal self. So it's not the ignorance of knowing how to do math well, although it's good to know how to do math well. So avidya is the kind of ignorance that we don't know that we are immortal soul. We think that we are limited. So it's talking about self-knowledge with a capital S and a capital K. The ultimate knowledge of who we really are, not bound to limited ideas of ego. So from there, it actually brings us right into the ego, asmita. Asmito is egoism. And ahamkara means the sense of I, or closely related concepts. Asmita, or they're not only concepts, they're actually a very real reality, and we need to get a right understanding of them to be able to transform what the ego is. It makes it very hard to put it in its proper seat. The ego has an important role in daily life. We need to have it. It gives us our sense of I-ness, but it often takes over the show. So that show being, it's all about me. It's all about what I can get out of the situation. And it's even so much so that we don't see that we are way more than just our limited sense of self. All about our limited identities and creating so much binding thoughts around these that it makes us start to suffer. Where in reality, everything is impermanent. Every self-concept is impermanent. This body will fall off, and then what? So this is what yoga practice is for, to help us start to get into a space where we can be comfortable with the unknowing and a place where we are not so bound up by our asmita, our ego. So then we have the next 2 of the 5 kleshas. We're just going over this real quick here. Raga and dvesha. I like to say that. Raga and dvesha. So raga and dvesha are pleasure and pain. They're the pair of opposites. Raga and dvesha are like 2 sides of a coin. We want to have a good job. So we go after that job. We try to grab it. And then once we get the job, then there's many stresses that can come along with it. And then there's a little bit of repulsion. So it's like and dislike, basically. And like and dislike are often the same 2 sides of the same coin. They flip back and forth. You see a lot of people who are very ungrounded in a relationship, for example. They fall madly in love with the person. They're like the most perfect person in the world. They're so wonderful. And then they hate the person. They learn a little bit more about the person, and then they have repulsion. After they have deep attraction, they have repulsion. And this is because we're too bound to our sense of I, asmita, because of ignorance, not understanding who and what we truly are. So, raga and dvesha relate a lot to our relationship to pleasure and pain, hot and cold, sunny days, cloudy days, bank account full, bank account empty. So in yoga, we want to practice equanimity. So we're not always getting pulled back and forth between this pleasure and pain, which is inherent when we still think we are our ego. So again, really understanding what the ego is in yoga, it is anything that puts I as the ultimate reality. My story, my view of reality, my political view is better than your political view, All of these things bring suffering. So when we try to understand others, we can remove our strong opinions, our strong charged feelings. Just be present with somebody. Listen. Be present. Just feel. And try to understand more deeply why they think what they think. We need to get ourselves out of the way so that we can even listen. Our mind is so busy, we can't even listen. In yoga, we'll often hear the example of people confusing a rope for a snake. They see a rope and they get scared thinking it's a snake, but it's actually just a rope. So this is a good analogy that's commonly used, but it's actually a lot more practical than that. For example, someone will say, I have a friend who's in process about what Donald Trump means. And then they say, oh, you support Donald Trump. No, the person didn't say that they support Donald Trump. They said that they're in process about what Donald Trump means. But we superimpose a million thoughts instantly onto something. It's very difficult today with media, social media, because we're bombarded by so many things. When we look at our computer screen, not right now you're watching me, there's probably a bunch of advertisements for a bunch of little things. All these things are making subtle imprints into our mind. So the practice of yoga and meditation is very important to clear the mind, and particularly in this media-based time period that we're living in. So with algorithms and whatnot, they're also advertising things towards all of our likes. So back in the day, back prior to all of the algorithms trying to get to us, there was only information coming in. Every now and then you might find something, but now there's a systematic thing where they're trying to get into our minds about everything we want to have. All of your Facebook feed, all of the advertisements, it's all set up to get to your likes, which are often fueled by your own self-dislikes. The fear of not having enough, the fear of being separate, the fear of not being approved of, not having enough money, not having a good partner, where really we just need to be peaceful inside of ourselves, feeling the changeless reality that is back behind our breath, moving every moment. So raga, dvesha, clinging, and repulsion are closely related to the sense of the ego, asmita. So then the last one is a little bit harder to understand. Mad clinging to the body or mad clinging to the life. Yoga teaches us that we are actually an immortal soul. Our body is not who we are. Yoga is being sold to us in a lot of ways that it's all about beauty and it's all about having a perfect, beautiful, sexy body, and that this is the most important thing. This is a very youth-driven view, and it's not taking into account all of life's phases, and it's also not focusing on our own intelligence, which is what we should be focusing on, intelligence, higher knowledge, and creating a loving and meditative mood, not just cultivating a ideal perfect body. A well-refined mind can accept changes and accept the ebb and flow of life's ups and downs. If one is creating a yogic lifestyle simply based around beauty and attraction, eventually, if you live long enough, disappointment will come. So all of that wanting to have people attracted to you, to think you're beautiful, to use your sex appeal, all of that will eventually lead to some sort of bankruptcy because it doesn't last forever. The body changes and we eventually begin to grow old. Some of us can make it last for a long time, but it's all based upon delusion of trying to manipulate and control others. If we are young and beautiful, we should appreciate that gift and be humble, not into controlling others. So they say in the Yoga Sutras and some of the more traditional commentaries that even the learned and the wise and the deep meditators still cling to the body and to the impermanence of our sense of self. So all of these 5 kleshas point us back to the problem of I-ness, of ahamkara, as asmita, egoism. So if we can work to transcend our ego by making sure to listen to others deeply, do things for other people, these are all karma yoga activities, then we can use our personal daily yoga practice, meditation, mantra, yoga, whatever is working for you, to help us so that we can have that attitude of serving everyone, not just those that we think should receive service. Everyone needs to receive our kind listening, our kind gestures, giving, sharing. We can give in so many ways just by being fully present. So being fully present is not possible when we are projecting the needs of our ego-driven reality. So in yoga, the ego is not either good nor bad. It's sometimes we can have a good desire, like we want to see justice for all. We want to see rights for all people. We want to see everyone protected. But sometimes even that healthy desire can get into a place where we start to project negativity onto others. So our good intentions get co-opted by our drive to make them happen. We still need to work towards these positive ends and these positive goals, but we don't want them to start to create any negative situations in our life, which is becoming very common today. Anger in the name of justice. So we need to have peace in the name of justice. So do our meditation practices, do our yoga practices so we can feel that peace and then become change agents for good in the world today. So this is what the Yoga Maya school is all about. Yoga Maya means the power of the divine in the world. So we want to bring that healing potential in and live as loving, productive citizens. So learning to overcome our ignorance, avidya, our asmita, our ego, and the cycle of clinging and repulsion, and the cycle of clinging to the body, going beyond these helps us jump over the mind. I shared a post on Facebook the other day. It was Muji. I might not get it exactly right, but it was basically something like, we need to jump over our minds like the cow jumps over the moon, referring to the old tale. And the mind is like the moon, and we need to be like the cow jumping over it. So as long as we're still stuck in all of these projections, even our good and noble desires can't come into beingness. So letting our good and noble desires be and letting them naturally unfold, getting all of our projections out of the way by removing ego, by removing clinging, and this will bring much success and happiness. So this short video has turned into a long video, but the Yoga Sutras are so dense and juicy. What can we do? So Happy New Year to all, and thank you for taking time. If you've made it this far into the video, I really appreciate that. And thank you very much, and namaste.